Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome at the English news program here at Ora News. And now, tonight's news. The deputy leader of the Socialist Movement for Integration, Uli Magnani, has requested the resignation of the governor of the Central Bank of Albania, Ardian Fulani, considering him as responsible regarding the scandal of the grand theft of $7.1 million in his institution. During an interview for Ora News, Magnani said that so far, Fulani has faced only legal responsibility, but his resignation would be an ethical act that would help putting all the financial system of the country under the rule of law. The theft at the Central Bank of Albania is a major scandal, but the deputy head of the Socialist Movement for Integration, Uli Magnani, also expressed his concerns about the failure of the financial institution during the last years, which according to him came due to mismanagement. Magnani rejected the possibility that the majority of the Socialist Party and the Socialist Movement for Integration will politically support the governor of the Central Bank. Dritero Agoli, the man who dedicated his life to writing and politics, considered the theft at the Central Bank of Albania as a worthy story for a novel. During an interview for Gazeta Shqiptare, Agoli stressed that this event is the top of corruption, theft and violation, and it creates a dangerous and uncertain situation among the citizens. It is a story like the ones written in novels. To every writer, like me, this is a top story. This event is the top of corruption, theft and violations. The situation is very dangerous as it creates uncertainty in the nation, not only to those who have deposit in banks. A simple man who thinks simply will no longer deposit his savings in banks. Every normal person would think that if such theft is made to the Bank of Albania in such important department, then what happens to the rest? Dritero Agoli stated that a constitutional agreement is needed so that the Bank of Albania can be controlled by someone. The state does not interfere in the bank, but this fact must change. It must be stated in the constitution that the banks should depend on someone, meaning that it must be controlled by someone. Analysts, who also other people, say that this event is a special situation. I'm sorry to hear it. Measures should be taken. Often they punished a man who stole a pair of shoes or those who steal from the balconies. What about the theft of the bank? What happens in the basement of the bank where the treasury is? I regret this situation, stated writer Agoli. Noting that the governor and others have violated the country's interest, Agoli requires political unification to solve the situation. Those who are in the parliament, both the majority and the opposition, must find a common language regarding this issue, concluded Agoli. The former Minister of Finance, Arben Malaj, stated that the scandal of the theft of 713 million lek in the Central Bank of Albania has shown the major problems in the management of this institution. During an interview in RTV Ora News, the former Minister of Finance said that the Supervising Board must make a complete analysis to determine the moral responsibilities and also the administrative responsibilities, while the prosecution must continue with its deep investigation. The expert of economy, Arben Malaj, said that the theft has not occurred due to lack of the regulation, but what's worse is the failure of law enforcement. According to the former Minister of Finance, the most important thing to be done after the scandal of the theft of the Treasury is to restore the credibility in the Bank of Albania. Malaj also spoke about the need for changes in legislation as soon as the new parliamentary session is opened. The central bank has a tremendous importance, especially in two principal components. It is the central institution which implements monetary policies, which determines the cost of money in the economy. And secondly, it has the duty to supervise second-level banks to ensure their depositors who entrust their profits to these banks. I believe that this case has not affected the safety of the country's economic development, since people's deposits are sure. It is an extraordinary phenomenon, since the bank's employees have stolen the institution where they work. After a long period of crisis, the Albanian economy needs to preserve institutions so that they can have a high credibility. The first task to restore the bank's credibility starts with the board and its administrators. I believe that the magnitude of the impact of a case like this on the economy of a country is not strong enough to affect the safety of the country's economic development. The Council has moral responsibility and maybe administrative responsibilities. There must be several legal improvements in the Bank of Albania with a full professional expertise from domestic and foreign professionals, concluded the former Minister of Finance, Arben Malaj. The removal of Ardian Fulani as a post as the governor of the Central Bank of Albania and also the discharge of other high officials in the Central Bank has been the primary demand of the citizens of Albania. After the scandal of the grand theft of 713 million lek in the Central Bank, a considerable number of people in several cities have protested against the governor. The citizens of Shkodra have also joined this initiative after signing the petition that urges politicians to react regarding the scandal. They even went further, stating that except to his dismissal, the justice system must act against Fulani and his wealth. The signing of the petition for the dismissal of Fulani will continue for several days in the city of Shkodra by inviting the citizens to join this initiative, which so far has been undertaken in major cities in the country. The signatures that will be taken during these days will be attached to the petition made in Tirana on the 18th of August and then will be sent to the President of the Albanian Republic, Bujar Nishani. A group of people from Eritrea have alerted the staff in the hospital of Lora. 5 women who were part of 40 illegal immigrants were stopped from the police from entering in the country from the mountains of Greece. After being detained, they were immediately sent in a hospital due to health problems. After the tests and medical visits conducted from the hospital of Lora, the doctor stated that their health problems were caused due to dehydration and hunger. The doctors, who are in high alert regarding the Ebola virus, which in Africa has caused more than 1,000 deaths, initially placed the woman in quarantine, but after examining them, stated that they were wealthy and were sent later to the police. Despite that, their analysis were sent to the Institute of Public Health in Tirana for a more professional examination. The Democratic Party has today accused the fraud and the propaganda which, according to it, the government of Rama is doing with employment offices. The coordinator of the biggest party of the opposition, Ervin Saljani, attended a meeting with a group of young people of different professions who have applied for a job for months, but have not yet received a response. Considering this fact, the coordinator of the Democratic Party accused the government before the employment office in Tirana. The loss of jobs is one of the most serious events that have occurred in these 300 days. Misguided government policies, the establishment of the progressive tax, and the increase of procedures for employment have discouraged investors, and there are now fewer jobs for the category of youth. On its part, the government is doing nothing to increase employment in Albania, said Saljani. According to him, the only solution that the government has mentioned is the beautiful facade of the office work, to which every citizen who applies for a job faces fraud and negligence. I am here with a group of citizens from different professions who have applied to the Office of Work and are now jobless. The only solution that this government gives is empty propaganda and deception, while the only people who are employed by government are those who are incriminated and those who have a fake diploma, concluded Saljani. Public universities whose license was removed from the Ministry of Education and Sports have stated that so far there have been not concrete actions from the government. The president of the International University of Tirana, Vladimir Fulaj, said that so far no official document has arrived in this institution. while the students of this university not only have not begun to withdraw the transfer file, but also they have started to collect signatures for a petition that will be submitted to Prime Minister Edi Rama and to the Minister of Education and Sports, Lindita Nicola. Through this petition, they demand to repeal the decision of the Council of Ministers, which revoked the license of the university where they are currently studying. Managers of private universities have warned that they will pursue all appropriate legal steps in order to suspend the decision of the government. The Democratic Party has today accused the government for removing the licenses of 18 universities without the transparency and for personal interest. During a press conference, Deputy Luciano Bocci said that these actions intend to bring no results and therefore they don't serve to the society. When the closure of over 30 universities is made by people whose integrity is violated in the same way as the findings in the report they do, then this movement is lacking from the outset and it is compromised, said Bocci. He accused the Prime Minister of acting in favor of personal interest by appointing as the Chief Inspector of Education a person who has a false degree and has been a donor of the Socialist Party in the last elections. Albania has excellent specialists with high integrity, but Prime Minister Edi Rama has chosen to work with others who think only of their private interest, added Bocci. The deputy of the Democratic Party added that the opposition is in favor of legal actions and implementation of standards in universities and higher education system, but it cannot agree with a reduction of 12,000 quotas for the youth who want to attend the public higher education. The fear is that 6,000 people will be added to the quota due to the closing of the private universities. So, with his actions, Edi Rama will leave 18,000 young people without the opportunity to attend the university and will force them to address to other ways of making a living, such as bars, gambling, and most likely crime, because this is a decision of the Prime Minister, concluded Bocci. The deputy of the Democratic Party, Muharrem Tafaj, during a media statement, accused the Prime Minister, Edi Rama, for being silent and not having an attitude related to what the Democratic Party qualifies as violence against the opposition, by referring to the incident with Deputy Strasimiri. 33 days ago, Edi Rama organized the physical assault and threat to life against the opposition, which led to an unprecedented political tension in the country. And as a result, the Democratic Party was forced to break off its relations with the parliament. After this bandit act, inspired and commissioned by Edi Rama, resulted and was proved by the Democratic Party that the instruments of violence that Prime Minister uses are members of the parliament who were previously convicted of serious criminal offenses, such as prostitution, trafficking, and kidnapping, he said. According to him, Edi Rama has failed in trying to silence the Democratic Party and its representatives. No reaction, no attitude, not a single word said by the Prime Minister. From 33 days, he is silent on what might be one of the most serious events in the history of 23 years of our democracy, the incrimination of Parliament and installing anti-opposition teams there. We will continue every day to denounce the criminal coalition with which Edi Rama came to power and with which he is seizing every day, every office, every institution, said Tafaj, among others. The General Director of the State Police, Artan Didi, held today a visit to the border crossing point in the city of Durrës. State police sources inform that the visit of Director Didi aims at reflecting the measures taken by the police to guarantee order and public safety during the summer tourist season, the results of the state police. During his speech, the General Director of the State Police did an analysis of the work of the police and said that the number of immigrants who enter the country has increased. Work has progressed with the best rates. The number of immigrants who entered our country has increased, while the number of criminal incidents has decreased compared to previous years, thanks to the good work done by the forces of order and security, said Didi in his speech. State police increased its actionable strength, and therefore criminal events are fewer in number compared to previous years. According to the head of the blue uniforms of our country, the work of order and security forces will be rewarded. I have very good news for police officers who have sacrificed to serve during the summer season, at times of the high temperatures in prolonged hours. So we thought to reward them with the extra hours, and it did it. Albania is ranked among the first countries in Europe in terms of blood donation. The coordinator of the Red Cross in Tirana, Anila Laha, says that Albanian youth is well informed, adding that the Albanian society is already aware that blood donation can save lives. In the International Day of Youth, the Red Cross organized a demonstration of how to give the first aid in case of accidents. The activity of the Albanian Red Cross is stretched across the country, especially in public beaches, when overcrowding of people in these areas is higher, and also the need for the first aid interventions. The citizens of Lezhë can address to the local referendum in order to oppose the new territorial reform proposed by the government of Edi Rama. The initiative has been taken by the Democratic Party, who are expected to start the collecting of signatures to achieve this purpose. At the meeting, which was organized with the local leaders in Lezhë, Democrat leaders of this district have indicated that this division, adopted by the majority, has also violated the constitution, as people are not asked about it. Citizens and their elected are not asked about the way how they think the territorial division. This is the attitude of the heads of local government units in Lezhë, who have called for a referendum on the territorial division. The Democrats of Lezhë are expected to immediately begin collecting the signatures to later deliver it to the Central Election Commission for the realization of this referendum. The Minister of Health, Ilir Beqaj, opened a new health center at the crossing point of Kakavia. Minister Beqaj claimed that although this health center has seasonal character, it will remain open throughout the entire year. Its purpose is coming to help in emergencies for all patients, mainly to immigrants who return home. The presence of the white shirts becomes more necessary, especially during these hot days, when the influx of immigrants has significantly increased, accompanied by long queues waiting to cross the border. These provisional points are opened in Durrës port and at the custom of Kapshtica as well. Regarding the lack of medical specialists in the districts, Beqaj claimed that the specializations will resume in October, in which priority will be given to doctors, especially to cardiologists, pediatricians, doctors of intensive care, due to their specifics. Representatives of the Serbian community in Kosovo have requested for the future talks between Kosovo and Serbia to be focused more in technical issues, which would help in the improvement of the life of Serbs. Progressive Democratic members of the parliament in the Parliament of Kosovo, Nedad Rashic, has welcomed the warnings of the post-election coalition between LDK, AAK and Incentive for an intensification of the talks between the government of Kosovo and local Serbs. The Brussels Agreement sets forth the continuation of talks with Belgrade with the support of Serbs and Albanians. There must also be dialogue with the Serbs of Kosovo, who have autonomy here in Kosovo, and this is an issue which must be addressed not only by the next government, but by the entire Albanian spectrum. It's self-determination movement, the party that has warned a transformation of the closed diplomatic talks in Brussels into open democratic talks with the Serbs of Kosovo, if it becomes part of the government, which will be formed by the opposition bloc. We don't need such dialogue with Serbia, but we need dialogue with the Serbs of Kosovo. Dialogue with Belgrade, neither integrated Serbs of Kosovo nor it united Mitrovica, said the organizational secretary of self-determination, Dardaj Muliqaj. According to him, Kosovo needs to launch new talks with Brussels for contractual agreements between Kosovo and European Union, namely with the European Union Enlargement Department, including dialogue with Serbia, which may be required by Brussels for good neighboring relations of all Western Balkan countries which aspire accession. The United Nations General Secretary, Ban Ki-moon, has urged the Kosovo authorities and the European Union to establish by early 2015, at the latest, a special court to deal with war crimes committed in Kosovo Metohija by the so-called Kosovo Liberation Army in 1999. I strongly urge the Kosovo authorities as well as the supporting European Union structures to ensure that a specialist court is in place by early 2015. Ban said in the latest report on the situation in Kosovo, to be presented to the United Nations Security Council on August 25th. The report, unveiled on July 29th by Clint Williamson, Chief Prosecutor of the Special Investigative Task Forces for Kosovo Liberation Army crimes, is essential not only for sustaining fundamental principles of international justice, but also for combating impunity and ensuring accountability, the UN Secretary-General said. He also thanked the leadership of the European Union for fully committing the political and financial resources to complete this process. In the report for the period from April 16th and July 15th, published on the European Nations website, Ben noted that the strong commitments by Belgrade and Pristina to make progress along the path to European integration, coupled with continued activity enlargement by the European Union, have proved to be critical driving forces towards the critical objective of normalizing relations between Belgrade and Pristina. Ben welcomed the formation of the new government of Serbia, headed by Prime Minister Aleksandar Vučić on April 29, noting with appreciation the early reaffirmation by the new government of its commitment to the continuation of the European Union facilitated high-level dialogue with Pristina and full implementation of the agreement reached in 2013. Taking note that no high-level meetings were held in the period from mid-April to mid-July due to pre- and post-electoral processes in Belgrade and Pristina, he encouraged both sides to resume such meetings at the earliest opportunity. Full and faithful implementation of the 19th of April 2013 agreement in accordance with the implementation plan of 22nd May 2013 should provide the context for addressing other outstanding issues through continuing high-level engagement by Belgrade and Pristina in the European Union facilitated dialogue, Ban said in the report. He gave a positive assessment of the process of the elections for the Assembly of Kosovo, in particular of the participation of Kosovo Serbs in northern Kosovo, adding that the ensuing post-electoral negotiations have represented another important test of the political maturity of the Kosovo institutions. Their efficient conclusion is essential so that a new leadership in Pristina can proceed expeditiously to address key challenges, including the reform of the electoral system and the political dialogue with Belgrade, he said. Condemning the June 23rd violence in South Mitrovica, Ben said that it remains essential that unilateral actions and inflammatory rhetoric be avoided in order to help maintain an atmosphere conducive to the successful continuation of the dialogue. This incident is a stark reminder that the path to reconciliation between communities is long and arduous. It also highlights the needs for all sides to translate on the ground the processes reached by leaders in Brussels, he said. In the report, Ben also welcomed the formation of the new municipal assemblies and the adoption of municipal statutes by the Serb-majority municipalities in northern Kosovo. Together with the successful conduct of municipal and legislative elections throughout Kosovo, these positive developments represent critical steps towards the establishment of an association community of Serbs majority municipalities in Kosovo in the future, as envisaged in the 19th April 2013 agreement, he said. And that was the news prepared for today. Have a great evening. See you tomorrow. Good night.